Most of us are familiar with the starving artist trope, the idea that in order to be a working artist in this country, you'll struggle to live. And that's the unfortunate reality for many artists in the US. A lot of them have to work many jobs to make ends meet. They deal with low and infrequent pay, a lack of access to healthcare, no worker protections, and just this general societal attitude that says you don't deserve to be paid well because art is fun or it's a passion project. My name is Makita, I'm a journalist, and for almost 2 years, I've been reporting out stories about how artists are making it in the US. I've talked to them about their income, their expenses, how they feel about their financial security. And really, a lot of these stories have been sad. I've heard a lot of the same things over and over again. Artists feel like they have to fight for scraps to make it. They feel like they are not valued, and it shouldn't be that way. So I started publishing these stories on my site, The Art Rebellion, and I'm sharing them on social media. But I began to dream up more creative ways to share these stories that are really impactful and important for people to know. And I came up with this idea for an immersive installation. So taking the stories I've done and putting them on a wall instead of on a page. And I found a partner last year, the University of Michigan, and we were able to turn this dream into a reality. I had an installation that opened last November and it ran for about a month. So I wanted to take you all along on this journey and show how I went from being a traditional journalist who writes to someone who takes their journalism and shares it in more creative ways. So follow along and see how everything turned out. Even though I've seen a ton of art in my time as a journalist, I've never gotten an up-close look at how the installation process actually works. For a few months before the open date, I worked with the team, Catherine from the University of Michigan, John from Duo Fine Arts Design, and designer Karina Tort Ortiz. We talked a lot about how to take the interviews I'd done and make them compelling to someone who would be encountering them in a new space. We took inspiration from the colors and the overall vibe of my Instagram account and how I shared the Artist Pay project stories there. What we came up with were these colorful wood panels with vinyl cut excerpts from quotes. To figure out what would go on the panels, I went back through my interviews to find a few standout themes for the installation and quotes that would be the most impactful. I also wanted to include new visual elements to the installation, so I commissioned several photographers to shoot some of the artists I'd interviewed. The intention behind the photos was to keep the artists anonymous still, so the photographers got creative by taking photos from behind or using some blurring effects and also using interesting lenses. This is my reflection a couple months later, but let's quickly cut to how I felt opening week. I'm here at the University of Michigan for the opening of my very first art installation. I have been interviewing artists around the country about just how difficult it is to make a living as an artist when the arts are really undervalued in the US. So come along with me as I show you my very first installation, which is called Making It: Snapshots from the Artist Pay Project. So I was standing in front of the title wall, which is like the big opening to the installation. It sets the stage for why this work exists and what people will see as they walk around. The installation is at the business school on campus, which actually makes a lot of sense because these might be a group of people who need a deeper understanding of the realities that artists face. The installation was organized by theme. This one is focused on artists across the Midwest. For example, a couple artists talked to me about how living in Detroit allows them to pursue their art because the cost of living is so much lower than other major cities. Another artist in Springfield, Missouri shared that it's hard to make money performing drag there. And this was one of my favorite aspects of the installation. It's this video that we called Pay Us. It's a compilation of interviews I've done, TikToks, and art films all exploring the pay issue in the arts. This theme is focused on artist portraits, and we included direct quotes from artists that were photographed. Another theme pulls out the similarities that I've heard from artists all over in their interviews. For example, this artist talks about her difficult decision to go freelance and how she could no longer afford health insurance. Another really cool aspect of this exhibit is that we put up these engagement boards to get people to think about money, how they contribute to the arts ecosystem, and what small steps they could take to improve their financial well-being and the financial well-being for artists. We got some really interesting responses here. So I didn't get a ton of footage from the opening night party, but my friends captured a little bit of it, and I got these photos afterwards. I love to journal, and here are some thoughts I jotted down in my notes app around midnight after the reception. So exhausted, but the show was incredible. Hearing so many people say that it resonated with them made me feel proud of my work, like I'm onto something great. I'm happy with how everything turned out. It surpassed my expectations. And that's it. This was such an incredible experience for me, and hearing back from artists that the work resonated and helped them feel less alone, that is so important. My whole goal with everything I do is to create a positive impact in the world. And I hope that the installation helps people start having more conversations. They might be difficult, talking about money is hard, but have more conversations about the value of art, the financial value of art, and thinking about the work that goes into making a piece of art. I hope that it helps artists know how to price their work and demand fair pay for their work. I'm still doing more of this work. I'm doing more interviews with artists. I'm currently working on making a zine with a designer, so taking the interviews I've done and putting them in a print format. And my huge dream is for this installation to grow and travel. I'd love to have a touring exhibit that stops all along the country. So I am working toward that dream. I hope it can happen. If you have any questions, let me know. Please follow my work on theartrebellion.net. Sign up for my newsletter and my Instagram. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye.